Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's November 6th. This will be a chart lesson for the day. And quickly looking at the daily chart, you can see we closed a little higher than we did the previous day, um, but we didn't quite make as high as we did the previous day. It's got just basically an inside bar. We're finding resistance off this purple line here. Um, this was a really strong and fast rally, so doesn't surprise me that if we took a little rest before pushing higher again into this upper band if we're going to. We'll just have to see what tomorrow brings, but not uncommon at all to see us get a little rest here. The volume was real low today. It felt like volatility real low. Just kind of a quiet day, really. So seems like a consolidation day. People just kind of sitting around. Not a lot of new buying came in. People not much selling, but not a lot of new buying either. People just kind of waiting to see. It seems like acceptance at this price is since we didn't sell off. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. But that's just a quick look at the daily chart. Uh, it takes a few days to really get a feel for what's going on this chart. It doesn't move as quick. You don't get as quick a reads off of it as you would a 2,000 tick chart. So sometimes it feels a little slow and methodic compared to trading the 2,000 tick chart, but it reads the same and pretty much reacts the same. So it just takes much longer. So what can set up in 15 or 20 minutes on a 2,000 tick chart can take 3 or 4 to 5 trading days to set up. So it's just real slow. Anyway, let's flip over to our 2,000 tick chart. We'll go through the trades, take a look at it, and we'll wrap this day up. Okay, here's today's chart. You can see it was mostly sideways till we broke out here around lunchtime. We dropped a little bit more than a measured move. Came back in there, dropped, tried to go lower again, failed, rallied out of there back into the range, and pretty much closed middle half of the range there. So it was a little slow and methodical early on here. Picked up a little steam here with a couple of legs down. But in the end, we closed up slightly from the previous day, not much at all. So just basically a kind of a quiet consolidation type day, in my opinion. There weren't a lot of trades today, especially, I've got some green ones in there, but really from 8:30, there's just not much here. It's just hard trading. There's a couple of others that possibly could be green if you really wanted to be a little aggressive, but there's just not a lot of trades here. Just not much going on at all. So anyway, we'll zoom in here and go through the trades and see what we got here. Okay, here we go. Let's start off right in here. 7 o'clock came right in here. You got two legs down, and really you got a triple test down here with a nice signal bar on a most likely going to be a failed break out of this congestion right here. So I like going long right there. Quick, easy scalp, nothing more than that out of it. Get your close outside, new high, then you're just kind of back in the range. This one was tempting, but I don't think you got enough room to get out there. And so for that reason, you really can't take that trade. As you can see, there's only 1 point there. It would have worked, but I just think it's too risky. It's not the greatest signal bar anyway. And then, of course, it just bounces and breaks out. Makes a lower high right here. I like going short below that bar right there. If it breaks below that, just to ride it back on. It's probably going to be a failed breakout. You clearly got two legs up there. Takes off. There's a shorter term trend line in here. I didn't draw it because really we're looking at our bigger trend line there. But there is a shorter term one. It just drops on down. I like that for the short. Comes back here, two legs back, and then has a lower high here on the second entry. And this breaks higher and turns down. You could trade that on the engulfing bar, or you could wait for it to close and go short right there, however you wanted to do it. There's a lower high here, and we'll see this several times today. Very similar setup. but it's right into support, so you got to be careful. That's dangerous taking that trade. Obviously it worked, but there's just too much support right across there. You can see we pull back and test that support. We end up just going sideways. This is all too congested. I don't see anything to long or short side until we get back out here to the trend line again, and you really get a triple test there. Just a bearish bar that closes back inside the range, so it gives you a chance to go short at the high of the range and at the main key entry point, even though we did get a close outside. And then of course it takes us to a couple of legs down and then reverses. But I like this. There's a second entry here. I did not mark it because look at that support across there, and you're going short right into it. It's just too risky. I mean, you can see all the way across there we've had support right along that red line, basically, which was the close from. Is that the close from last week, or is that the close from today? No, that's the close from Friday. It doesn't really match up on here, but they're showing that as the close from Friday. So I guess it closed right here. I don't know why these other bars are in there. But anyway, along that red line, regardless of whether it's right on the close or not, it's just too much support right across there. And of course it drops down here and it fails. Maybe you take the long right there on the failed breakout. You're always better to wait on the high or low. And you can see here, this works out as an engulfing bar. You could take it either way. If you wait till it closes, it's right into the EMA. But on a range day, you don't worry about that too much. Your next worry would be the next resistance or the midline. So you really got plenty of room there. And again, you could trade that on the engulfing bar or whatever. I don't know if it broke higher and then turned back down and then came back up, or if it broke lower. I'm not sure there. I don't remember. But if you got stuck in the engulfing bar, the key is to always put your safety stop below the previous swing, which would be here, which is not much different. You only take on a tad more risk. And so that's probably what I would do there rather than letting that stop me out. And then once this closes, then you move your stop to one tick below it. There's a bit of a reversal here, but too congested, and it's not really where you're looking for a reversal. And of course, you're going to close outside, move to a new high. That bar is not good enough to short, and then you're just chopping around, runs back up. I didn't mark this one, but it's right back where the original range, where it felt like most of the touches were, a little right in that area. You might mark that green, being that far away from the EMA. The problem is the resistance wasn't 100% at that point, and that's the first close outside. It's like a close outside and a high all in one bar, and it could easily push up one more time. So yeah, I'll just leave that green, leave it as is. This is all too congested. Comes back. It makes a lower high here. It's like a 1, 2, 3, fourth entry though. We're still inside the channel. We haven't quite got back to the highs. Really, I think your line is just a little lower across there. And then we start working lower, but you can't go short right there. And I don't see anything all the way down here. You finally get a little overshoot, which leads to the break, and you continue to trade lower, but you can't go short right into the support. And this looks a little congested here. Then you've gone too far. That's tempting, but most breakouts fail, and you don't really get any resistance off that support line. So I'm not crazy about going short right there either. I mean, it's a possibility for a green, but I just think it's too risky. You could get burned there. We do get a closeout side and new high, but really this closes back inside, so that's your first close outside, so it could push up again. I'm just not crazy about it. I don't see anything down through here I like. No bounce. It's too congested, again, it's a little congested here, but at least it breaks lower and comes back and then turns back down. So you could go short right there. It's It's not the best bar, but because it makes that 2-bar matching high, you could count that as a lower high from this one. Runs down, finally get a break, move to a new low, and you get a second entry lower high here. That's that repeat pattern, but look at all that support again, and you see it finds support for a minute before it pushes lower. Because we've already seen one or two and they worked, maybe you take that trade, and we'll see it again. So maybe you take it, but I marked it just to talk about it. I think you should still skip this one because now it's a repeat pattern. If you see it again, maybe you take it. And of course we bounce here, and you do get a failure here. Notice the new low, you get a first entry, and then it comes back. Because you get that 2-bar matching low, that's like a new low. So you could treat that like a failure. It's not 100. It's not perfect. This was just an hour low here. It looks a little congested though. And then maybe there's a failure here, which would be okay because of where we're at, because you expect it to run back up at least to this high here, but it's just not a great setup. And it runs on up, comes back, 2 legs back, and you get a second entry long where you're expecting a retest of this high and maybe to get back in the range. And of course it does. It gets back in there, and it's just chopping along, but then you get a triple test. 1, 2, 3. Very small, low risk bar, 4 ticks. It closes back inside the little channel. I like that one. And that takes us into 230. So just not a lot happening here today. Unfortunately, they had this big move down with just not many setups. You just got to be real careful going short right here into these lows because that's what burns you. Today it worked out, but most times it won't. And then we actually pushed a little lower again. This thing got bearish for just a little bit. It just didn't hold. It didn't last. And you can see we probably call that one leg down. And so we'd already had 2 measured legs when we went lower here. So I think this was prices were just kind of people were getting a little tired of chopping around and either let their longs go and some new shorts came in. I'm not sure, but we clearly had our 2 legs and then pushed down even further. But we recovered most all of it, so we closed back in the middle of the range. So just not much happening today. Just kind of a quiet consolidation day. That's the way I'm going to label this as a consolidation day. But there it is. There's still a few trades. There was a couple here early and then a couple here late. In the middle of the days where it was tough. But I hope you had a good trading day. Maybe tomorrow will be a little better. Let's hope so. There was no news or anything today, and we had such a strong rally last week. No surprise that with no news or anything that we just have like a consolidation day. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.